So today I want to go over the rock cycle and particularly how different rocks can go from being igneous, metamorphic to sedimentary and back again. So looking at the rock cycle, it's just referring to how we recycle and reuse rocks here on Earth. Another cycle you might be more familiar with is the water cycle. So we can go from different forms in the water cycle, but it's all the same water, it's all the same stuff just being reused in a cycle. So same thing with rocks. So we can start anywhere on this line. I can start as a metamorphic, sedimentary, or igneous rock. And the thing that I really want 8th graders to know is I can go from any kind of rock and I can become another type of rock. I don't have to go from here to here to here to here. I don't have to go this order. I can go maybe as an igneous rock, and then all of a sudden something happens and I get heat and pressure on me, and now I turn into a metamorphic rock. Or if I go from an igneous rock and then all of a sudden I'm exposed and weathering, some stuff happens, deposition, and I become sediment, and this sediment gets compacted and put together after some time, I can go from there to be a sedimentary rock. Or if I really had a situation where I became igneous rock, I cooled, then all of a sudden I go back and I start melting into magma again. And I get reborn and remade as another igneous or maybe a different type of igneous rock. So I can go from one type to all three, doesn't matter where I'm at. Okay, so if we go from sedimentary, I can get heat and pressure and go to metamorphic, or I can go straight to melting and I can become magma and then turn into an igneous rock. Or I can go from sedimentary and get broken up again and be remade as a different type of sedimentary rock. Metamorphic, I can be heated up and melted down to go to an igneous rock. I can be weathered, I can have a bunch of sediment and deposition and be turned into a sedimentary rock. Or I can be exposed to more heat and pressure again and be turned into a different type of metamorphic rock. So no matter where you're at on this cycle, you can become any type of rock. It doesn't matter. Now the process we call, so metamorphic requires heat and pressure. Igneous requires melting and cooling, and sedimentary requires compaction and weathering. So those are some key things that have to happen to the rocks in order to get that type of rock. So looking at igneous rock, we have to start out as magma and then cool. We can either cool on the Earth's surface, and that's what we call extrusive outside, or we can make a little magma chamber and we can cool on the inside, what we call intrusive. But anytime magma or lava cools, that is an igneous rock. Some examples, we have granite, so your granite countertops are igneous rocks. And then these are some other ones that you may not be as familiar with, but this one definitely has probably popped up in a couple people's households. Metamorphic, the only way to get metamorphic is if we have heat and pressure. Now, not so much that it melts and becomes magma, but just enough you see where it stays above that magma line and it's still a rock, but it gets pushed down and squished, and then it gets heated up. And those two things, heat and pressure, cause it to change into a metamorphic rock. So some examples, gneiss, marble, that's probably a more familiar one to many of you. Marble statues are made from metamorphic rocks. And then sedimentary rocks. This requires any type of rock to be broken up into little pieces we call sediment, and then after a while it kind of squishes together and then it gets basically glued. Another word that we use for that is compacted, but it gets glued or compacted together, and that's what makes it a sedimentary rock. So one that's probably familiar to you guys is sandstone. Sandstone is exactly how it sounds. It's a bunch of sand that got squished and cemented or compacted together to make a sedimentary rock. Some chalk, that is also a sedimentary rock, or limestone is a sedimentary rock. So all these are different examples of sedimentary rocks. And remember, I can go from any one, if I can really have 8th graders know one idea, it's that I can go from any type of rock to another type of rock. It's not in a particular pattern. It's not in a circle. It just is how it is. It's how the environment is and where I'm at. So I can go from here to here, here to here, here to here. I can go any different route. There's no one set way to go through this cycle. So I hope that was kind of helpful to reiterate or go over the rock cycle and then just briefly talk about the different types of rocks. Your key word for today is Blue Devil. So Duke Blue Devils, Blue Devil.